Cobbett planned his travels with an express purpose in mind to find out the real state of the countryside and to use the facts he gathered as material for articles in his political register intended to further the causes of political and financial reform. Many of the best travel books have come out of journeys begun with such practical motives. They succeed largely because of the sustained interest created by the counterpoint between the author's deliberate intention, which makes him seek facts and argue about them, and the sensibility that makes him respond in an unplanned way to the physical and mental stimuli of travel in unfamiliar territory. Such books are rare. The power to write them belongs to a very special group of writers who can balance a political or social passion with an equally intense passion for rendering experience into evocative prose. Cobbett was one of them, and George Orwell, who resembled him in so many ways, was another. I have to catch up on the travel writing done by Orwell as well. I think To Shoot an Elephant, I've read parts of it. We read books by men like Cobbett and Orwell On at least two levels. They are, to begin, and by intent, works of reportage, of documentation meant to be topical in their day, and good topical writing becomes petrified into the material of history. Nobody writing on early 19th century England can ignore rural rides as a source of essential information on the feeling of the times, just as nobody writing on the 1930s can avoid reading The Road to Vision Pier. But the majority of the people who have continued to buy these books in large popular editions since their authors' deaths have not been historians. Wonderful comment, wonderful point. Apart from a rather generalized curiosity about facts, they read them for mainly literary reasons because they take on the form of a dialogue between the observer and what he observes, in which the description of a landscape or the recording of a conversation can tell us as much about the author as about his subject. With such writers, almost anything they set down on paper becomes a kind of autobiography. Whatever else they write about, they are always writing about themselves. Yet, as William Hazlitt argued in the essay he devoted to Cobbett, in the spirit of the age, they do so in a way that at the same time enhances our interest in their subject. His, Cobbett's egotism is delightful because there is no affectation in it. He does not talk of himself for lack of something to write about, but because some circumstance that has happened to himself is the best possible illustration of the subject, and he himself is not the man to shriek from giving the best possible illustration from a squeamish delicacy. He likes both himself and his subject too well. He does not put himself before it and say, "Admire me first," but places us in the same situation with himself and makes us see all that he does. There is no blind man's bluff, no conscious hints, no ventriloquism, no testimonies of applause, no abstract, senseless self complacency, no smuggled admiration of his own person by proxy. It is all plain and above board. This is also about the times. We are living in a time when autofiction has become so popular that so many novels that are being talked about, that are really topping the lists and charts and winning awards, are autofiction. We are living in a time when the story of the individual is becoming very important. This is about a travelogue, and I think it could be mixed. This is not to say anything about praising Cobbett or the point that he very finely is drawing Woodcock, but just a different point. So much has been already written. And yes, it could be, and he has a unique viewpoint of being a politician and using it as a political sort of, uh, treaty, like a political piece of literature, to campaign for more reform. These are the things needed. So, great. I think I'm going to stop here for tonight. Thank you.